cook a toffee. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do here before we get started. We use copper kettles. Copper heats up 5 times faster than an iron kettle and 25 times faster than a stainless steel kettle. So that's why we're using copper. They also cool down quicker if they get too hot. So to start us off today, we're going to go ahead and put our butter in here, get this melting. We're going to put a little heat on this until it melts into a liquid. While that's melting, we're going to add our salt. This is how we measure things here. And our lecithin. While we're waiting on that to melt, we're going to go ahead and heat up our table over here. This is a water-jacketed table. There's 2 layers to this, and we can run hot or cold water through this table to heat this up or cool this down depending on what we're doing. But right now we're going to heat it up a little bit. We're going to hit it with a little hot water for about 5 minutes. Right now this is room temperature. We're going to bring this up to about 100 degrees. And once this is poured, when this table is warmed up a little bit, that'll buy us a little bit more time when we're cutting it, breaking it up. Table with a little bit of salt too. That way, as soon as you bite into that toffee, you get that salt first thing, and then you get that buttery, sweet toffee flavor immediately as soon as it hits your tongue. So we salt the table that way, that salt hits you first thing. And I'm not going to tell you exactly what our recipe is, because it's top secret. But I am going to tell you a similar recipe that you could use at your house if you wanted to try this. This would be awfully hard to do on a stovetop without burning it, but you're welcome to try it. But this is one of the hardest things that we make here. We constantly have to adjust the heat while it's being cooked. I'll talk about that as we go. And then we're constantly adding oil back to it to prevent it from burning as we're adjusting the heat and stirring it. So this is a pretty simple recipe. We just got butter, sugar, and we're adding some oil back to it with a higher melting point oil. And that oil helps keep it from burning, and it gives it a little bit better crunch. A lot of toffee recipes are just using butter and sugar, but we do a little bit of oil in there too. If you wanted to cook a toffee recipe at your house, a good recipe, a good place to start is about half and half. You want to do about half butter, half sugar, and you want to add a little bit of salt and lecithin to that. Don't need a whole lot of lecithin, but if you don't put that in there, that helps combine the sugar and the butter together. If you don't put that in there, they'll want to separate and boil out, and it won't ever come together. We got our butter melted here. We're going to go ahead and add our sugar. Get all this mixed together, and then once we get it mixed together, we'll hit it with the heat, start cooking our toffee. Anyway, today helping us out is Corey. He's one of our candy makers. We got 2 full-time candy makers here, not including me, and I make candy sometimes, but they make most of the candy. Corey's one of them. He's going to be helping us pour this toffee on the table today and cut it and break it up. So we'll go ahead and get started cooking this. So when your toffee's starting out, it starts out, you can give it 100% heat, and you can cook it pretty hot for quite a while. And then as the higher your temperature gets, you got to start dialing your heat back. It's going to want to burn. As it starts wanting to burn, we start adding our oil back to it. Give it 100% heat. And then we'll cut it back to about 20% heat at the end there, 20% flame or so. And this will gradually, right now this toffee looks very grainy, and this will gradually get smoother and shinier looking towards the end of this. And most candies we use our digital temperature readout, but this one's burned so bad, if you were to put this in here, it would burn around that bottom of that because you couldn't mix around it fast enough. So we cook this by eye. We don't even use temperature. We do a final temp, but we're just using a digital heat gun. Gives you a readout to make sure, but I can usually get it pretty close just by eye, and then I just double check with our digital readout down there. Total cook time on this is about 35 minutes. And as it goes on, you got to stir it faster and faster. And you're not just stirring, you're actually putting pressure on the copper with the stick. You're kind of pushing down to scrape off as it's burning. And this does, it's like a controlled burn. So it is burning the whole time, but you're just trying to scrape off that, that burn part off the kettle and blend it in. So I'm going to go ahead and cut our heat back a little to about 50% here. You can see that it's changed a little bit, a little less oily. It's starting to come together. And then we're going to go ahead and start adding some oil to this here. This is going to be roughly a 20-pound batch when it's done. And as that oil melts, that oil hits the bottom of the kettle and keeps it from wanting to burn so bad. That's why we add it as we go. Most people, or most recipes that I've seen, you add it all at the very beginning. And you cook it through, and that does work, but it's even harder to prevent burning by doing that. So we just kind of add it back as we go, and that really seems to help. As I was a kid, I watched a lot of cable TV. That was the thing to do then, and it just seemed like as it went on the news, it seemed like there was always something bad going on or sad going on or whatnot. So, I gradually, as Netflix came out, I started watching Netflix, and then, I got tired of watching, fiction shows that didn't really, it's kind of just burning my time doing that. So from there, I started watching a lot of YouTube videos, and I thought, because they're kind of more informational, and you learn something a lot of times from a YouTube video. And I thought, I should probably do that. We do cool stuff at work all the time. So, and then a company pulled up on my YouTube feed called Hercules Candies, and that dude does a great job. Gets a ton of views, and I thought, I'm gonna try doing a YouTube video. So that's why I'm here today, cooking this in front of this camera. So it's starting to darken up a little bit here now. We've got about maybe a third of our oil left over there to add back. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more. I typically get all the oil in, or once the oil's all melted in, it's usually about 280 to 290 degrees. Depending on what we cook here, we're cooking things from between 230 degrees to 325 or 330 degrees on different candies that we make. Each thing varies so much, but this is one of the highest temperatures that we cook a candy to, and the higher you cook your temperature, the firmer it will be. So we want this toffee to have a good crunch. We don't want it to stick to your teeth real bad. We don't want it to have be chewy. We want it to just be crunchy. So in order for something to be crunchy, you got to cook it over at 300 degrees. So this particular toffee here, we're going to go to about 320 degrees. As far as crunch goes, once you get past 315, it doesn't change much. 315 to 325, that's about as crunchy as you're going to get on a toffee. You can cook it up to 330 or 335, and all you're doing is making it darker, and you can't overcook it and over caramelize it. So we try to shut this off about 320-ish, or somewhere around there. Once this is mixed in, then it's gonna start to darken up on us and burn a little bit here. If you get it real hot, this will actually start to smoke. And you can get this, I've burned them bad enough where we just have to throw the toffee out, and it will actually taste smoky, like if you barbecued some chicken or something, it will get a smoky taste to it. And we're not trying to make smoked toffee, we're just trying to caramelize our toffee. I've been cooking toffee since I was about 16 years old. And I would come in on Saturdays with my dad, and he would show me how to do this, and I burned an awful lot of Toffees before I figured out how to do it right. But that's the only way to learn. You just gotta burn a few. It's starting to get close, but it starts hanging off the side. Like I said, I'm not just stirring it, I'm actually pushing down with this hand onto the bottom, pushing down pretty firmly to keep that bottom scraped clean, keep it from burning. If you do kind of a lighter stir, it will burn. If you get closer here, you can see, kind of look down there as I stir, you can get a quick glimpse of the bottom of the kettle. See the copper down there still shiny. If that was burning, you can see it would be turning brown or it'd be turning black. But we still got a shiny copper kettle at the bottom, so we're doing good. We haven't burnt anything yet. Now we're about 25% heat of where we were when we started off. Really slowing it down, trying to prevent that burn since we can't add any oil back to it. Almost all the candy we make here is hand stirred in this kettle. So we do have a caramel cooker. We'll show you that in another video. It does have a mechanical agitator, but we cook caramel almost every day, so it helps with that. I've tried to cook this. See now it's starting to burn a little bit. Turn this back. Look in the bottom of that kettle. You can see there's some dark spots. And a little bit won't hurt this. You really got to get it hot. This thing's got to be smoking to ruin it, which I have done many, many times. But that little bit didn't hurt it. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put the heat back on. And as we get towards the end here, this is going to start to get thinner. Before it was kind of grainy and it was kind of thick, and this is getting thinner and thinner the higher we go up in temperature, and this will get to almost to the consistency of water. It'll get so thin, and then it'll start getting real shiny. It's starting to get a little bit more shiny now, a little more slick looking. And we're probably around 300 degrees now. Earlier, getting good shine on it there. Everything's coming together. Bottom's still looking clean down there. It doesn't look too burnt. Alright, we're at 330, so that's a little higher than we usually cook it to, but that's going to be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and pour you in. We got roasted and salted almonds here. We add those back at the end. When you get those almonds in there, it has a nice roasted almond smell coming out of there. It smells awesome. Alright, that's pretty good there. Mix it all up. Shut the heat off on our cook vent there. We're going to come back, pour this on the table. We're going to spread it, and we're going to cut it. I burned myself many times doing this, and when that 300-degree toffee hits you, you know it doesn't feel good. We want to get this as thin as we can, because if you have a inch thick crunchy toffee you're trying to bite down on, it'd be too hard and you wouldn't be able to eat it. So we try to get this about a 1/4 inch thick here, and the bottom 1/4 inch almost immediately sets up as soon as it hits that table, because the table is so much colder than the top. And once I'll do one final pass on it here, make sure it's as thin as we want. Kind of work it back this way. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this here. We're gonna go down it one way, and then we'll come back the other way at 90 degrees and cut it into squares. Then we'll hit it with a fan. It'll start setting up, and then we'll start breaking it up by hand. Once it's cooled off enough to do so. And this is not cutting all the way through it, just scoring the top of it, so it breaks kind of into more square of a piece. Go ahead and hit this with a fan. Alright, and then we can't just let this cool straight on the table. We gotta pull it off the table a little bit. That way it releases from the table. I've let this set up on here hard before, and it will seize to the table, and you can never get it off. So once we moved it a little bit, I'm trying not to break it like that, but we'll cut it into sections here. That way we can, once it's set up, we can move a little easier. I'm just trying to release it from the table. That'll be under the fan for about 5 minutes, just enough to cool it off, but we can handle it. If you try to break it up too soon, it'll want to bend, it'll want to snap. So once it's cooled, we'll break it into little bits, let it cool off, and then we will dip it. We'll show you that next time. All right, so this is cooled enough where we can break it now. And like I said, it's not cut all the way through. We just scored the top of this candy just so it breaks into even squares. So when we pack it in a box, it looks nice and it packs easy. So we just go through here and break these up. This is a pretty time-consuming thing. Usually I'm cooking a toffee over there, then we got 2 people breaking the toffee up here as the next batch is cooking. So we try to do, we make a toffee that makes a big mess everywhere, you know, it's just kind of a messy process. So we try to do 4 or 5 at a time. Usually by the end of that, I'm pretty wore out after stirring that, you know, thing for 35 minutes, you know, one after another. So this batch here is about 20 pounds. Once this is dipped, it'll make about 60 pounds or so. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about our first YouTube video here at Steve Libs Candy Co. You know, let me know if you what else you want to see. If you like the video, what we should do differently, what we should change. You know, this is our first one. We don't know, so let us know. Thank you.